Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Bulletin live from our studios here at Adesawe Kanda in Accra. With me, Emmanuel Saman, top of our bulletin this hour. In the bulletin this afternoon, burial service for the late Black Stars player Christian Atsu is underway. Also in the bulletin this afternoon, order restored at Golden Star Resources at Wassa Benso in the western region after disturbances there. We'll bring you details shortly. And on the foreign front, Chinese President Xi Jinping will travel to Moscow next week to hold talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Many thanks for your time. Remember, we're live on DSTV channel 279 all around the world on 3news.com and across the social media platforms. You can find us at TV3 Ghana. Let's begin from here. And hundreds of people Friday gathered at the forecourt of the State House at the pre-burial service of the late former Black Stars player Christian Atsu. Wife of Christian Atsu, Marie Claire Rupio Atsu, paid tribute to her late husband. The tribute was read by Atsu's sister, Christiana Chonam, as Madame Marie Claire could not control her tears when she climbed the podium. Christian Atsu died in a devastating 7.8 magnitude earthquake that hit parts of Turkey and Syria on Friday, February 6, 2023. His body was retrieved from the wreckage in Turkey after an 11-story building collapsed on him and others. Atsu's body was flown back to Ghana from Turkey on Sunday, February 19, 2023. Well, my colleague Komla Adom has been monitoring the events at the forecourt. So let's cross over now and get some updates from him. Komla, many thanks for your time. Take us through the happening of the pre-burial so far.
In the last few months, the announcements have been going out for people to get treated for the second part of the human rights begin. But we know that after now, the remains of the list have been taken from the other stations in town where it will be finally declared. And I have to tell you, when it comes to the all of individuals who are waiting for that second part of the program to begin. The family members are also seated here, and you can see the family head, Minister Sam, who is here together with the family members. And I have to say that
we apologize for that poor sound quality there, but we'll try to reconnect and bring in that conversation with my colleague Komla Adom, who's currently on the grounds of the pre-burial of Christian Atsu. Let's bring you some more stories now. And Gerard Boache, the group's manager and the corporate affairs of Golden Star Resources, where we understand that there has been some altercation between residents and indigents of that mining firm, led to the death of one individual. But apparently the police has restored law and order and security at Golden Star Resources, a mining site at Wassa Benso in the western region, following disturbances between some members of the community and the mining company. The incident is reported to have resulted in the death of one person, injury to 4 others, and damage to some property belonging to the company. The police have since beefed up security in Wassa Benso and its environs. The police have also reached out to some opinion leaders of the Benso community, as well as the vice president and managing director of Golden Star Resources, all as part of the police effort to maintain peace within the community. Well, for more on this, let's go on phone now and speak with Gerard Boache, who is the group manager of the corporate affairs of Golden Star Resources. Many thanks for your time. Now, we want to find out from you what led to this incident.
Well, what I can say is the police have restored calm, and they're still going through the protocols to investigate what may have set off. But immediate incident leading to that sort of standoff was that we, on our security men on their normal patrols, engage, had some engagement with some illegal miners, or to us, yes, people that are not supposed to be on our concession. And we're required to move away from our concession. They did, but unfortunately, they came back with more people to whether to reoccupy it or not. We're not sure. But in the process, they overpowered our security and the police that was supporting our security, and they ended up touching our property, vehicles, equipment, offices of our contractors, ambulances, safety equipment and all that. So security gate was overrun, and fortunately, police called for reinforcement from Takwa, and they came, and throughout the night they've maintained some calm here on our operations in Benz. So, yeah.
Where one person has died with 4 others injured. What led to that casualty?
Well, like I'm telling you, from what I said and from information reaching us, the police are still investigating. I can confirm that not if somebody is dead, not probably from the mine, but we're still waiting for confirmation from the police what led to that injury and subsequent fatality. Yeah.
So do you still have a number of police personnel on your mine?
Yes, certainly. They've done well to keep the peace and we're maybe preparing to resume operations with the support that we're getting in terms of keeping in account. But for the equipment that have been touched and destroyed, we probably would have started operations.
I want to thank you so much for your time. Gerard Boakye is the Group Manager in Corporate Affairs of the Golden Star Resources, speaking to us there. Now, local government ministry says the shutdown of the redeveloped KJTL markets may be extended from the initial 3-day period, but leadership of the traders expects an extensive engagement should the shutdown be extended. Officials from the ministry, the National Disaster Management Organization, and the chief executive of Kumasi visited the fire scene to assess the extent of the damage. Let's go on Zoom now and speak with my colleague Ibrahim Abubakar for more on this. Ibrahim, many thanks for your time. What do we know about that KJTL market fire?
Well, so we've not been able to establish the cause of the fire, and the fire service personnel, as we speak, are at the fire scene trying to gather some form of information. Like we rightly said, the market has been shut down. The people you see currently behind me are some of the victims who have been invited for their names to be taken, and also if there will be possible support from them, then that will be extended. So currently, they are the ones who have gathered at the frontage of the KJTL market. But you go in there, all shops have been closed, no trading activity is going on. In fact, like you said, the local government ministry was here, Obiamwa and the likes, and they are here also to assess the extent of damage. What they have seen, they are saying for now, even the 3-day period, they can't be certain that the market will be open then. It will take the advice from the technical team because they want to make sure that they protect lives and properties. Let's take a listen to Obiamwa.
The initial period is 3 days, but we are depending on the report of the security services and consultants and those who matter and advise on these issues. If they say that it should go beyond 3 days, we'll have to accept their recommendation and then move on. It could be a week, it could be 2 weeks. If it's even more for our safety, we have to accept it and let them work. The most critical thing is safety. If it had been even more disastrous than this, we would have had no option but to stay at home to make sure that everything is safe. So we have to depend on the technical people who would agree that now it's safe to move in. What is the point in moving here for you to come and fall into trouble just because you wanted to make some money? So the safety thing is the most critical thing. Let's depend on them, let them advise us, then we move from there.
All right, Ibrahim, we also know that you've been interacting with the mayor of Kumasi. What has he been telling you?
Well, since the incident, today is the first day he visited the scene. We made effort to speak to him. We were told that he was out of the country and he returned last night. Well, he's just giving the traders some assurance that whatever the assembly or the government will do to offer them support, they are ready to do that. Let's listen to Samuel Pine.
And it's an unfortunate situation, and we grieve over all the affected victims. But what I want to assure them is that the Assembly and government is ready to give the necessary assistance. Also, we all committed to make sure that the action is expedited, to make sure that they come back to their businesses. What I'll plead with them is that they should take heart, be patient with the processes. When you have such facilities and you have such catastrophes, definitely you cannot simply move in the day because you want to make some money. So we plead with them that what the timeline that we're giving to them, let's adhere to that and make sure that the right things are done so that we don't have a reoccurrence of this unfortunate situation.
All right, so Ibrahim, earlier this morning we came to you and you did indicate that some 33 out of 50 traders were affected. But those who were not affected, what have they been telling you? And because the market has been shut down, are they going to try and get their things out? And for those affected, do you know if they have some form of insurance policy for them to recoup their investments? And also, do you know if there's going to be any compensation for these affected traders?
So, Samani, let me start with a bit of insurance. Currently, as I speak to you now, the insurance of the market has not been renewed. Yesterday, the fire service personnel were here, they were worried. As we speak, the fire certificate for the facility has not been renewed. So this implies that the insurance has also not been renewed because the fire service is expecting management to comply with one or two of their recommendations before they go ahead and renew the fire certificate. So yesterday, that is the issue. Most of them, for now, we don't know, they don't know what to do next because personally, they have not insured their items and also the facility itself has not been insured. So that is how come yesterday, even the regional minister was furious and he was asking why the facility has not been insured, and that means we have to now depend on government in these hard times for money to be compensated. That will be an interesting discussion maybe in the time to come. But with regards to closure of the facility, already those who have not been affected yesterday, honestly, they were not in agreement with the shutdown of the market. They were expecting that only the place that has been affected should be called off and the place shut down. Then the other, because the affected place is less than 10% of the entire facility. So for the traders' leadership, later management and the minister engaged them and they agreed for the 3 days. But with what the local government is talking about extension, they are hoping that there should be some consultation before even if that extension will be done. It should be done because for now they are just praying and hoping that by Monday they will be allowed back into the market. I engaged with the president of the KJTR, Federation of KJTR Traders, Nana Kwesi Prempeh. Let's listen to what he told me.
Well, before the close down, the management engaged us in consultation to deliberate, to tell us the reason why there was a need for the closure of the market for the first 3 days. And per the minister's speech, we realized that they will also depend on the reports or recommendations from the experts who are on the ground now. We are anticipating that the greater part of the market, which the fire did not affect, will be open to the general public, and they cordon off the place that was affected. Thank you.
All right, I want to thank you so much for your time, my colleague Ibrahim Abubakar, coming to us from the Ashanti region. But I will definitely keep an eye on this particular development, particularly regarding that non-renewal of that fire certificate and insurance, and keep you updated right here on TV3. Let's bring you some more stories now. An investigative journalist, Anas Arimia Anas, has said his lawyers have studied the judgments delivered by the High Court on the defamation case against the Member of Parliament for Asin Central, Kennedy Ejapong. He said a careful study of the judgment indicates that a judge moved into the arena of criminal prosecution. Now, on Wednesday, March 15, the Accra High Court dismissed the 25 million cedi defamation suit against Kennedy Ehone Agyapong brought against him by investigative journalist Anas Aremeyaw Anas. The judge, Justice Eric Barr, held that Anas Aremeyaw Anas failed to prove that Ken Agyapong defamed him by airing the documentary Who Watches the Watchman, but rather the documentary exposed shady deals that Anas and his associates were involved in. This was after Anas in 2018 sued the lawmaker for allegedly defaming him. Anas prayed the court to award 25 million cedis against Mr. Agyapong to compensate him for the defamatory material published against him by the MP. The court concluded that what Anas is engaged in is not investigative journalism, but rather investigative tourism. And Agyapong was justified to call Anas a blackmailer, corrupt, and extortionist, and evil. There's some more news this afternoon. A human rights lawyer and member of parliament for Medina, Francis Xavier Susu, disagrees with a call for a commission to investigate the military brutalities in Ashaiman. He contends that there is clear evidence on the military abuse and rights violation in Ashaiman, hence constituting a commission would amount to waste of resources and delay in justice delivery.
Military would have to understand that in recent times, their actions have actually been an affront to our democracy. When you look at the 1992 Constitution, the language of the Constitution is very clear when it comes to the duty and mandate of military officers. For example, you look at Article 210 of the Constitution, particularly Article 210, it says that the armed forces shall be equipped and maintained to perform their role of defense of Ghana, as well as such other functions for the development of Ghana, as the president may determine. Now, the core duty of the Ghana Armed Forces is defense of Ghana. It's not day-by-day law enforcement. And so the use of military in law enforcement is completely out of place. It has no space in any democratic dispensation. It's not sanctioned by the Constitution of Ghana. Honestly, I don't see the need for a commission of inquiry into this matter. I think that we must show leadership and we must be more proactive. Most often than not, these commissions of inquiries, what becomes of their report? Ayawaso West won by election violence. What became of the report of the commission of inquiry? So how does that serve the interest of justice of the people who have been violated? We have video evidence available that suggests that the military went overboard with their action. And then you have evidence suggesting that the people that have been arrested by the police in connection of the young military officer have nothing to do with all the people they round up and beat and subjected to all forms of dehumanizing and cruel treatment. And the military high ranks have come out to admit that there were excesses. Why would you need a commission of inquiry? Why would you want to waste the taxpayers' money? Why must we set a new commission of inquiry to investigate the obvious?
We're still watching Midday Live from our news hub here at the Selway Kanda in Accra. Up next, we have sports with Oriel Krampafon.
Welcome to the sports segment, where today we're especially dedicated to Christian Atsu, who goes home today. And throughout the morning, up until 12 p.m., what we've been doing is bringing you a live coverage of the final funeral rites of the former Chelsea winger. In the morning, the funeral was at the State House forecourt, where various dignitaries, including the president of the land, his wife from the United States of America, and then delegates from his last club, Hatayspor, all graced the ceremony as they paid their final respects. What we do know is that the body is being transported to Ada. Let's quickly head over there to get up.
To be buried at this particular spot. Now, over here, the family members have already arrived and they are seated. We have here the stool father of the family who joins me here to give me updates, to give us an update of how preparations has been and when they expect Christian Atwu's body to finally arrive over here. Sir, good afternoon to you.
Afternoon, how are you, sir?
I'm fine, sir. First of all, I mean, can you give us a sense of the preparations that have been made for the arrival of Christian Atwu Twasam?
Thank you. Please, I want to speak Dangbi because I can't speak English proper, so I can speak Dangbi. No ne wange deji Christian Atwu wakla wa pe reading e yoke ha e babe. Lo amining it does not actually Ebenezer and Twasam. So father nge dogobo. Wadra yo bene masa. Nge gbogbo yo e babe hi. Lo gbogbo yo bloji bene wakla wange ye. Hi otwem jomge gidigidi kokla be hiyo. Neke mo noko ba hiyo no ma ye gbe. Gidigidi kokla be hiyo. Wange security men nge hiyo. Nange hiyo hebui. Lo komba hiyo oko ye gbe kra. Se oko po e komba no ba wo pele. Pele wa pele wenge hiyo ka ba wo pe ja kan wa bi one sika ya no. Jo saminya. Le eke ni hikla angebu ajom. Le pio papa saminya lo ko ba hiyo. Le wa pe mbo ke ba kan o ba ta wa he no wa ko ne chunio. Se chape kan wa pe mbo ko ba hin nene se pe nge hiyo. O ba na wo no wa ko wa yin singe hiyo. Nge twem jom. Nene he no wa pe mambi kan ba hiyo nge no ne. Ko ne nye ba wa ne wa ke chunio bene masa. Nye chumka.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the updates on Atwu. And I mean, what time do you expect him to arrive? Just the time.
Just the
time. The time you expect him to arrive.
Pio wange hiyo lo wange gan pio meye. Ka ke hilu ke asika ngle nyombi lo amase wakweti. Kolo gbogbo yo blo nya tom nge heji. Government wa ha blo ke GF kla wa ha me blo. Na ma ba twan ni bene masange gbogbo yo he. Ka gbenya gbogbo yo pio wo we ko wa no. Wange gbogbo yo nya ka je mondo ya si wo motukura. Wange ya wachaya no nge yo nye chumka.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Of course, apart from the family who have been here waiting for the arrival of Christian Atwu Twasam, there's also a few people who've also arrived and they are waiting for him. The seats are yet to be filled here, but of course, we are expecting that a number of other people join in and then watch as Christian Atwu's body arrives here. And there's also this particular spot where his coffin will be placed so that people get the chance to see him up close and then pay their final respects to him. And then finally, after they put him here, they will move him to the final resting place, which is just at the side over here. And they would rest him there. It's a special place for just him. No other person will be here as well. This is the update that we have from over here at Christian Atwu's final resting place. My name is Belishen for 3 Sports.
And so that was my colleague Bill Ishen, and the person that he spoke to was just basically saying that he's a peaceful person and just hopes that people come in and support Christian Atwu as they lay him to rest in Ada. He also stated that they're expecting the body to arrive at Ada by 12:30 p.m. And so do keep an eye out on TV3. Once the body arrives in his hometown Ada, we'll quickly cross over to bring you updates from there. But if you've been following the stories of Christian Atwu, you would know that he had a passion and genuine love of helping people, a particular group that he continually showed love and support were ex-convicts, and my colleague Yao Ofosulabi tracked down one of them and told the story.
Mark Mensah treks the streets of Accra selling his wares every day. He is mostly on the western stretch of the capital along the Accra-Cape Coast Highway. He meanders through the vehicles and traffic just to find one person, or maybe two, to buy his wares. This was not his life before, but he prefers it to his previous life in prison. Mark was a young man living in Apam and selling drugs before he was nabbed by the police and sentenced to 4 years in prison. He served the full term before he met Christian Atsu.
Getting released from prison and reintegrating back into society is always a big task. But it was Christian Atsu's dream and vision to help many of these prisoners and ex-convicts get back into society the best way possible. Mark is a living example of this. Through Christian Atsu's reintegration process, he's been able to make a living for himself after he was released from prison in 2019.
Atsu collaborated with the Crime Check Foundation to reintegrate ex-convicts, decongest prisons, and reduce recidivism. In Mark's case, it was the late footballer who provided for him to start up a new life as a free man.
Christian Atsu's passing made me cry. I was very sad because Atsu is the reason why I am in Accra. Atsu is the reason why I have a place to stay.
In all, Atsu paid the fines of 113 petty offenders to get them out of jail. He also successfully reintegrated 46 ex-convicts. 2 of these families benefited from him by getting support for their children to keep them in school. He understood the pain of being brilliant but needy. Atsu also championed the passing of the non-custodial sentencing bill.
There are a lot of injustice going on, and
I just want justice to prevail in the country.
Justice and Juma.
It was his dream that petty offenders would not have to go through the ordeals of being in prison or made to pay hefty fines. Ibrahim Kwarteng heads the Crime Check Foundation.
His joy was to see these brothers and sisters leave prison and then get something to do. So under our ex-convict reintegration project, he reintegrated most of these people into society by giving them trading capital, as in the case of Mark, for instance, who sells on the streets. So there are many people like Mark who are ex-convicts, but who have not re-offended because Christian got something for them to do.
Atsu's passing will be a big loss to many. The many he had started reintegrating, and the many more who depend on him, Mark inclusive.
He was a peaceful person. He cared so much for the poor and needy. I never thought someone like him would help me. He was a good person. My mom is still crying after she heard the news. I can't believe it.
Well, tributes continue to pour in for the former Chelsea winger Christian Atsu, who goes home today. There's been 2 sessions, actually, in terms of the final funeral rites. There was one earlier in Accra from 6:30 a.m. up until around 11:30 a.m. at the forecourt of the State House. Currently, the body is being transported by car. Initially, it was reported that his body was supposed to move in a helicopter to his hometown, Ada. But what we are hearing is that the body is being moved in a car to his hometown, Ada, where he would have another funeral rites, go on with his family and hometown people, everyone that he grew up with in terms of the family, for them to also pay their last respect before he would be buried right across. And it's a private, space that he's going to have his burial at. And that's how they want to pay. The family are choosing to pay their final respect for Christian Atsu, who tragically lost his life, during the earthquake that happened in Hatay, Turkey, recorded as one of the top 5 worst earthquakes since the turn of the century. But Christian was not just about giving and putting a smile on people's faces, but he also managed to have an impact whilst playing. He played for the Black Stars throughout 2012 to 2019 and played for quite a number of clubs across Europe. Here are some of his best goals in his career. And so that was a catalogue of some of Christian Atsu's best goals for Ghana. Spent 7 years playing for the Black Stars, marking over 60 appearances and winning the best player at the 2015 Africa Cup of Nations, which Ghana came out as runners-up. But as I mentioned earlier here on the bulletin, there were 2 parts in terms of the final funeral rites. The first part took place at the forecourt of the State House earlier today from 6:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Well, it's been 1 hour since then. Let's head over to the forecourt where my colleague Kelvin Owusu-Ansah is stationed to bring us the aftermath of the final funeral rites for Christian Atsu. Kelvin, if you could hear me, what's the place like at the moment? Has it settled or are people still moving in and around? Hello, Calvin, can you hear me?
All right, so at the forecourt of the State House in the crowd, unfortunately for maybe the investigation, but I think the traditional cultures are trying to entertain the people with some songs at this particular moment. And it's a scattered place now, as many have taken shelter, waiting for the rest of the family who have come for the private burial at Ada to return for the second part of the funeral rites, which will be the family gathering at the focus of the state house. So it's been a very sorrowful act. And at Ada, my colleague Bill would be given bits and pieces of what is actually happening there on the TV screen. But currently, we are waiting for the second part of that. A lot of people from across various circles, entertainers, media force, and Brother Flamme. We had a couple of other musicians being present here. Also, past footballers led by PFH president, Double Oseku, get my hand, former captain of the Tina National, living up here. Former African Footballer of the Year, Abedi Ayew Pele was also here together with the Ayew family to pay their final respect. Many were wondering whether Mubarak Wakasu was going to be present, but he has completed the final weekend before the international break, and he was present here to pay his final respect to his closest vow, and it was really a very sorrowful for him. He had to tears throughout the day, and a very befitting burial for Christian Achu. We expected in the next couple of hours before they return here. The president of the land, was also here as the chief mourner to finally pay his respect to Achu, who was seen as a national icon and philanthropist, who ensured that many benefited from his good work. Also, his former school, the Ahmadiyya Senior High School from Kotzen, Chita SB, the feeder club where Achu rose from, were also present here. The Ghana National Supporters Union were also here. Picking across different circles were present here to make sure that Achu was made to rest. And Ghana's coach, Chris Hilton, who is expected to be on field on Monday, was also present here to pay his final respect in company of a sister that is party. So here are the focus of the big down to the crowd. That's what is actually happening. We hope that in the next couple of hours, the second part of the burial will begin. For 3 Sports, Calvin.
Well, thank you very much, Kelvin Owusu. That closes the chapter on the first part of the final funeral rites for Christian Achu. The second part, which we are all looking ahead to, is the one taking place in his hometown in Ada, where we do have our cameras and reporters stationed live and waiting for the event to begin. Once it does, we would be crossing over to Ada as Christian Achu goes home. My name is Ore Kwampofo, and the bulletin continues right after this break.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint as compared to other paint brands on the market. We take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now, let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, 1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
Everybody knows Acrobato. And if you know Acrobato, it means you know M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic is my pillar. Let's hear what others are saying about M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. Who will be careful M-Punch one?
Chese na me ankasa me period na se problems wom ntina ma wo ho idea ma me papa chese na nya asem ketewa na me kwan point no mo hwe me modem no mo hwe bibia na so mo medro me fine no ene ma won kra mienu foforo kwa na mkwan mu a eba.
And everything yourself.
Me ma me no adwodwo eda ho a wontumi nante
and then they call endpoint. Omama nura, and then the white dear, what's me sorry ananti.
That's endpoint for you.
Of Akrobato.
Hello.
Hey, what chair?
Okay.
A free bra with the endpoint. What does it? I'm a choir. Me Joseph Sama name Koye, and person my name and then Magina Sabema. Now, many here for the hard in Jarissa.
You heard everything. I have secret. Endpoint is my secret. Endpoint homeopathic clinic. I'm free.
It's Anthony Movement! Prosper! What is this man on?
I started Ghana's strongest journey since 2019.
With 120 kg. And he has it!
It has not been an easy journey. Through hard work, strength, and determination. I tried 3 times before I finally won.
Ghana's strongest man, Prosper Dakora Debi!
Life has been amazing ever since. I drove away a car. I don't intend giving up my title. I believe that I am the strongest man in Ghana.
Do you think you are the next Ghana Strongest? Then join the audition screenings on the 17th of March in Kumasi Frames Complex, Takrady, 19th of March at the Takrady Shopping Mall, on the 21st of March, Ho Poly Park, and finally in Accra on the 25th of March at the TV3 premises. Come and compete to be titled as the strongest man in Ghana.
Some things are for rare men only. I'm dead.
Ghana Strongest, the power to do.
It's about to get more sporty. With a touch of super entertainment with your favorite stars.
Times we play the Twittingere, the Chaskele, the football.
Who should I take? Sonny Cruz?
Cruz?
Why?
While keeping you up to date with every trending issue in your world of sports on Warmer Plus.
But in comes Thomas Tuchel and everything changes. And when he said he wanted to be better than me, I was happy.
Let's keep it more sporty and super entertaining.
Warm Up Plus now shows on Saturdays at 11 a.m. on TV3.
Brought to you by Betway.
Welcome to the Business News segment here on Midday Live. My name is Pakwisi Asare. Let's begin with happenings in the oil and gas industry. And former Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, Senyo Hossi, says the government's gold for oil policy cannot be solely responsible for the drop in fuel prices. This is contrary to claims by Vice President Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia that the current fall in palm prices is due to the implementation of the gold for oil policy. Now, speaking in an interview with 3 Business, Mr. Hossi said the central bank's forex interventions and falls in global oil prices have largely accounted for the relief consumers are experiencing.
With the policy, I don't think the policy is solely responsible for what we have now. I don't think the exact exchange is what is driving the prices, not at all. I think that the mechanisms put in place to increase FX supply for the market has been very important. It's helped minimize some of the risk, and all the actors in there are commended for it. But there are major gaps in the policy as currently structured. And while I can appreciate the intent on the part of all players, I think that we should have an honest conversation beyond the nice PR branding that we are putting to it.
In other news, Ghana's inflation rate of 52.8% is one of the highest in Africa. Out of 10 countries sampled in Africa by Trading Economics, a data platform adept at keeping track of global inflation and interest rates of every country, Ghana's February inflation came 3rd after Sudan. There's more in the following report.
Trading Economics is a data platform that provides its users with accurate information for 196 countries, including historical data and forecasts for more than 20 million economic indicators, exchange rates, stock market indexes, government bond yields, and commodity prices. Out of 10 countries sampled, Zimbabwe has the highest rate of inflation of 92.8%, followed by Sudan, 83.6%. Ghana came as 3rd highest with its February rate of 52.8%, trailed by Ethiopia at 32%. Malawi was the 10th country with the inflation rate of 25.9% and the least captured among the highest inflation rates in Africa per the data. The other countries were Ethiopia, Egypt, South Sudan, Rwanda and Burundi. High inflation rates can have significant consequences on an economy as it can lead to an increase in poverty and a decrease in economic activity. It is thus important for governments to take steps to reduce inflation and promote economic growth and development.
Interesting report there. Elsewhere, Ghana's bond market is having a historically awful moment following a debt exchange that got investors to swap their high-yielding bonds for government papers that would give much lower returns. The new bonds are yet to restore the excitement that used to exist on the secondary market after the settlement was completed. We caught up with market analyst Kojo Lecha and first asked him about the new bonds' performance 1 month after the swap.
Trading on the secondary market has been fairly lackluster. There's really nothing going on. We saw some minor clips on Monday, Tuesday, being offered at par levels, but the volumes were nothing to talk much about. So on the secondary market, there's really nothing going on. We're still waiting, for market to settle for us to see some activity. Looking down the line, that's roughly about 6 months from now. So we should expect secondary market to be fairly dead for in the near term.
Now, government will today raise over 2.5 billion cedis through treasury bills following weeks of oversubscription of the instrument at reduced prices. The funds will be raised through the 91 and 182-day treasury bills. The proceeds are expected to be used to refinance maturing principal amounts worth some 2.6 billion cedis. Analysts are hopeful the positive trend in reduced interest rates will continue after last week's 19%. Well, that's all for the business news segment here on Midday Live. For more business news stories, do well to visit our website. It's www.3news.com.
Consult is the best place for your IELTS, SAT, and GRE tuition. The IELTS facilitates study, work, and live abroad. The SAT and GRE facilitate study abroad on scholarships. Zest Consult has an amazing track record of training around 4,000 students, nurses, midwives, and many others who have excelled in these examinations and realized their study and work abroad dreams. Contact us if you really want to study on scholarship. Zest Consult also provides real estate, automobile, and IT solution services. We can help you buy or sell lands and buildings and rent office spaces or accommodation. We can also help you obtain a car loan or buy or sell a car. If your institution needs a stunning website and amazing software, then contact us. You can call or WhatsApp us on 0555 631 633 or 050 909 2330. You can locate us at Kumasi Cultural Center and the Chamsume 5 inside Willas Towers. Zest Consult, excellence is our hallmark.
I love my life. So the moment the COVID-19 vaccine was available, I went for my jab. I want to stay away from getting too sick or even going to the hospital.
Me too. Nothing is more painful than losing your life or a family member or getting sick when you know the vaccine can stop that.
The COVID-19 vaccine is safe. You only live once, so take the vaccine to enjoy your good life. Get vaccinated now. This message is from the Ministry of Health and Ghana Health Service with support from USAID and partners.
We are on a mission promoting access to quality health and education through the power of our media space. Since 2014, we have made great impact. TV3 mission now drives Ghana's quest to break barriers and provide access to inclusive and quality girls' education, together with women's maternal health services. Our mission to address the needs of the socially excluded has won the admiration of many. Indeed, TV3 Mission gets you the results. Mission is live on TV3 News 360 every Saturday and Sunday. supported by Star Ghana Foundation, with thanks to Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office.
Welcome to season 9 of Daytrust. Daytrust!
Can she please take off her sunglasses?
Will you take yours off too?
Yes.
Okay.
She's a very nice girl, very young, and she looks like every man's choice.
They check you, sir. Oh, she's nice. She's nice. You're marketing. You're a nice girl. She's really, really beautiful.
Yeah, SDK and that's Asama.
Dayrush shows every Sunday at 8 p.m. on TV3. Don't miss it. Dayrush is sponsored by
Rush Energy Drink,
Airtel Tigo, Sense Body Spray,
Duffy's Health and Beauty, Pepsodent Herbal,
Geisha,
Obuasi Bitters,
Remy Spices, Give Us Herbal Mixture,
Carnival Strawberry, Forever Clear, Acne Control Range and Multi-Fruit Set,
Deluxe Acrylic Paint,
Star,
Dano Milk.
I love traveling around Africa. There's so much to see and so much to learn.
What unites us as Africans may be our race, our history, or our people.
What she did was a beautiful rendition of the Dambatakai dance of the northern region.
This week on Talented Kids, your favorite contestants will highlight the various facets and the distinctions of African cultures and exhibit their talent while educating us about Africa.
Now I'm a slave.
Keep your favorite in the competition by dialing *713* 13# or download the TV3 reality app to vote. Talented Kids, free to play.
Hosa, hosa, ho. Hosa, 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 hosa.
Talented Kids shows on TV3 every Sunday at 4 p.m.
Powered by Indomie. Sponsored by Pepsodent Cavity Fighter, Cowbell, Heaven Black Mosquito Coil and Insecticide Spray, Enapa Mackerel, Kiki Juice Drink, Flora Tissues, Top Choco, Coco Plus,
Deluxe Acrylic Paint. Powered by 3 Entertainment.
Good afternoon. Let's do some entertainment updates here on Midday Live. My name is Noella. Now, nominees of this year's VGMA Unsung category will be announced on Showbiz 360 tonight. Now, ahead of that, here is a package on past winners of the category, the impact the category has had, plus some predictions for this year. Introduced in 2014, the VGMA Unsung category is an initiative to project artists who are yet to hit their breakthrough. Rolled out 9 years ago, some nominees and winners of the category have grown to become A-listers, churning out major hits to thrill music lovers. Gifted singer Ms. V was the first artist to win the category when it was introduced in 2014. Music group Dark Suburb emerged winners of the category in 2015. In 2016, Aduma was named the Unsung Artist of the Year. Hitmakers Kwame Eugene and Kelvin Boy followed in 2017 and 2018 respectively. Other winners of the Unsung category include Kula, Teflon Flex, Nanki and Gamble. Music researcher Dan Lati shares the opinion that the unsung category since its introduction has had a phenomenal impact on talent discovery. Aside getting the opportunity to perform on the VGMA platform, Dan Lati wants organizers to consider adding other incentives to endear the category to a lot more talent.
These artists get to perform live, and you know it helps the artists to also learn a lot when it comes to performances. So I would say yes, it's a great initiative, and so far so good. One thing I expect is that they should give the winner a plaque, so that a day that particular artist say, yes, I was once part of VGMA, or I won the unsung category in this particular year. Performance on the main night isn't enough. Let's give them a plaque, and then also lobby for a featuring with any established artist, if not the artist of the year.
He also shared some predictions as to which artists are likely to be nominated this year.
There are so many artists that I'm looking out for to be nominated. The likes of Kwame Nat, Kwame Nkansa, RGM Wonder Boy, Rena, Unsung Papura is there, Mama Boat, Elizabeth Jackson, a whole lot of guys.
But following conversations by some entertainment pundits with regards to the benefits of the VGMA unsung category, Robert Clark, director of the VGMA, stated that there are plans underway to get more benefits for this year's winners. He added that these benefits will be revealed as the show progresses. He made this revelation this morning in an exclusive interview on New Day.
There are industry players who think that beyond just performing on stage on the big night, there's really no plan for the unsung artists. Is there a plan that shows that, okay, for every event that probably Charterhouse or the partners organize, I get to perform there as well? Is there a growth plan for me?
Okay, so growth plan has to be your responsibility because we are not a record label. And in everything you do, you have to exercise something called scoping. You have to scope where you, you have to be clear. This is where my mantle ends and any other person can continue. However, when you start a project, you start with the idea. And then when you continue, it gets to a point where if you're able to expand, obviously, you push it forward. Now, there's been years where, for example, in the case when Kelvin Boy won, our sponsor had a 5 or 6 city tour project for musicians, because there was sponsorship that was available, so clearly we put them in there. Now, beyond that particular time, sponsorship went down, so what happened was we had to go back to our scoping parameters that we're working with. But obviously, it's never really ended there because the interest has always been to expand. So once an opportunity comes up, we will jump at it. But this year, again, amazing interest being expressed by a platform like TV3 to be able to give more mileage to it. And so clearly there's going to be something extra from the quarters of TV3, and anybody who's going to be a part of this particular platform is going to benefit immensely in terms of what you are going to get from the values that we are talking about. Now, there are other benefits as well that are going to come through because there are other partners we are talking to. So these details are going to be shared with them as we go on.
Well, as we are very much aware today, the mortal remains of Christian Atsu are being laid to rest, and our cameras were at the event to speak to some entertainment personalities that were present.
It's not necessary for us to put it out there on the radio and TV to show people what to do. The scriptures are written in our hearts. If I have it and I make you feel that I have it by giving, it means that we are building a heaven on earth. We don't have to wait and die and walk on the streets of gold in heaven. We have to walk on the streets of gold in our own country and this environment. So, hey.
I think the biggest lesson that I've learned from Christian Atsu's life is that sometimes the real length or magnitude of a person's impact is only seen after they are gone. You know how many of the stories of transformed lives and prisoners and charity that he has done. So for me, it's an encouragement that there are things we're doing behind the scenes that nobody sees, which will become more relevant after we are dead.
And that's it for entertainment, but don't forget to make a date with us tonight on Showbiz 360, and over the weekend we have the main nominees announcements coming up as well. That's how we wrap up on entertainment here on Midday Live. My name is Noella. Over to you, Nasamani.
Thank you very much, Ajwa. Noella. Let's bring you some international news now. And Chinese President Xi Jinping will travel to Moscow next week to hold talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Beijing's foreign ministry said Xi will be in Russia from 20th to the 22nd of March at the invitation of Putin. A number of important bilateral documents are expected to be signed. The Kremlin said they will discuss a comprehensive partnership and strategic cooperation. International, and that's how you wrap up with the Midday Live Bulletin, live from our studios here at Adesawe Kanda in Accra. But of course, you can find more news when you do log on to our website, s2news.com. I am Emmanuel Samani. Take care of yourself and be well. Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.
This program is rated PG. It contains scenes of brief nudity.